British Columbia, April 29th, 2013. A response from the Lieutenant Governor General of the province. Dear Mr., and the name's been hidden to keep him private, your documents dated April 8th, 2013, entitled Declaration of Understanding, Claim of Recognition and Intentions, and received by the Lieutenant Governor of British Columbia, have been forwarded to this ministry for response. I am responding on behalf of the Minister of Justice and Attorney General. This letter constitutes a specific refusal by the Lieutenant Governor, the Government of British Columbia, and any other officials of the Government of British Columbia to whom your documents may refer to accept, agree to, or be bound by the alleged legal outcomes asserted in those documents. It also constitutes a general reservation of the rights of the Lieutenant Governor, the Government of British Columbia, and its officials in response to your documentation. That refusal and reservation of rights also apply to anything in or arising from any similar correspondence that you may have sent to officials of the Government of British Columbia in the past, or that you may send to them in the future, without any need for future correspondence by any such official. If you commence, or are otherwise involved in any legal proceedings in which you intend to assert positions of the sort referred to in your documents, you must deliver notice in accordance with Rule 4.3 of the Supreme Court Civil Rules. For more information on the rules of the court and how to access the applicable forms, you may wish to access the Click Law website at, and he gives them the website. I met a man recently over the internet, a pretty nice guy. I didn't really meet him physically at first, I just met him through the internet. And he had been studying about rights and freedoms, not specifically through international and domestic law, just basically through common law. I don't really know much of his background and who he was following or what he was learning about. Anyways, he had some tribulation with the government already, and due to privacy issues, I'm not going to mention what trouble he was having with the government, but he was already in a fight with the government. He continued to study and continued to do his research, and he began to understand that he had been designated an incorporated person, that Canadian citizen, and he saw that that person was rendered a subject and servant of Her Majesty, and had pledged allegiance to obey the laws of this land. He proceeded then to fill out or make a claim of recognition and intention, and send it off to the Governor General, stating that he intended to invoke his rights as a human being. And within his claim, he put specific content in there, calling on international law and domestic law, which affords him or gives him the right to exercise these fundamental rights and freedoms that he has. In response, the Governor General responded to him and stated that we reserve the rights against all these operations of law that you are calling against, to say that we are guilty, that we have done evil or we have done wrong. And they said that we are not going to correspond with you anymore. We're not going to return any more documents to you or respond to any more documents that you send to us. However, on the second page, which was funny, they stated that if you tend to go forward with the claims that are in your claim of recognition, if you tend to seek, if you will, legal justice over this, don't forget that you are under obligation to notify the Attorney General. And then they state, according to the Rule 4.3 of the Supreme Court Act. He didn't mention in his claim of recognition anything about the fact that he's going to be launching a constitutional challenge. He didn't tell them, he didn't mention it, he didn't bring it forth. The government gave themselves away. Because of the content, because of what was inside of his claim of recognition, they drew the conclusion that this guy, whoever he is, he knows his rights and freedoms. And his next logical step would be to launch a constitutional challenge against that which they were trying to yoke him to or bind him to. And they drew that conclusion. So when they responded to him, they included that little paragraph stating that if you go forward and you intend to enforce or try to enforce these rights that you have claimed in your claim of recognition, don't forget the obligation to notify the Attorney General. So they're clearly admitting right there, without really admitting the fact that they know what's going on. Because people send claims of recognition all the time, or claims of rights, or whatever you want, to the government, and the government doesn't respond in this way. They only responded in this way, particularly to this man, is because that it creates a legal obligation upon them, because they know these are the higher ups, and they know what is transpiring in law. And they know the logical step for this man, if he really understands about his fundamental rights and freedoms, is going to be to launch that constitutional challenge. Now, in law, when he does take this next step, they have the right to receive his claim, to receive what he's challenging, with 14 days before he intends to go to court. So they're just reminding him, let me get a chance to read what's going on. And it's usually at this point that they're going to examine that constitutional challenge and see if you actually know what you are doing and what you are calling upon to try and operate your fundamental right and freedom, or if you just copied and pasted a claim of right, claim of recognition, and sent it to them. So they'll know. A properly built claim of recognition automatically produces a remedy for you. The remedy may not be granted to you right away, but the operations of law that you call on and that you are backing up your claims with, it automatically produces you a remedy, which means that if those who sit in de facto power, if those who sit on behalf of this government, the parliamentary government, refuse to recognize your claim for your fundamental rights and freedoms, the next step in law, the next operation that's available to you because your claim is backed up in this, is you can go forward with a constitutional challenge, claiming the fact that such and such enactment is taking away my fundamental rights and freedoms. It's not allowing me to operate. It's not giving me the choice to decide if I want to be an incorporated person or not, if I want to be that servant, that subject, or not. It's just all ties together. Once your claim is built properly, once your claim is built upon international and domestic law, then there is provision or measures in law to have these rights and freedoms respected. And the operation of law comes out through, again, that constitutional challenge.